Hi there, Assassins, and welcome to episode 31 of Rally the Creed Live. We are an Assassin's Creed community podcast focusing on content creators within the AC community, news coverage, and everything else relating to the franchise. A massive thank you to everyone who's supported the show so far this year. We've had so many great guests and conversations in the series so far. So just to let you know, guys, we do apologise for the current delay that's going on with our episodes. The team are working behind the scenes to edit them and get them out to you as quickly as possible. There is a bit of a backlog building. We're hoping to get it resolved very soon. And just a reminder, guys, don't forget to subscribe. 84% of our listeners on YouTube aren't subscribed to us yet. It really helps us out, and it's going to help us grow the channel this year. Tonight, we are joined by a content creator who is known within the AC community for his fan films created using Assassin's Creed mods and the Unreal Engine 5. Most recently, he released a fan film titled The Retribution, which tells the story of an older Connor after the events of Assassin's Creed 3 being contacted by the Assassins to help locate Shay Cormac. This is the first time we've had a member of the AC modding community on the show, so we're very excited to get into the creation process. So please welcome SyncBreaker.
Yo, good evening. Glad to be here. That's a beautiful introduction, yeah.
Thank you. It's great to have you on the show, Antonio, and so much to get into tonight, especially when it comes to SyncBreaker and how you created the brand and other things we're going to be talking about tonight, guys. We're going to be discussing the Ubisoft financial results, which paint a different picture for the future of the company, the official synopsis for the upcoming Assassin's Creed Netflix series, which has been released this week, an Amazon listing for an Assassin's Creed Resynced Artbook, which was discovered by our very own Rally the Creed host James Davis, Top Chef 1288. And finally, Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming has suggested that the official reveal for Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced will be April, meaning a 2026 release could still be possible. But before all that, how are you, SyncBreaker?
Well, I'm doing pretty well, pretty good. Yeah, happy to be here, and as always, well, talk about AC, the franchise we all know and love. So yeah, it's great to be here, man.
Absolutely, and it's really great to have you on, even without video. But it's great to even discuss all things relating to all these amazing things we can go into, really, because you've really taken steps to become well known in the Assassin's Creed community recently. You're doing something completely different to anyone else, and I'd love to go back to the start and sort of go into where you began your content creation journey. So how did SyncBreaker begin? So as we know it, it's on YouTube, TikTok, and this is your overarching community. And what you do in particular is creating fan films from Assassin's Creed mods or the Unreal Engine. So yeah, I'd love to get into how you learned how to use that platform as well. So take us back to the start.
Absolutely, man. Okay, so first off, to the viewers watching this in the future and even now, I want to apologize for the lack of video because, well, first time using TikTok, so it's my fault. But anyway, let's go to the beginning of this. So basically, some people might have known me before. This channel existed as Il Mentore on YouTube, but it was like, I don't know, it was just like, I didn't like it. I didn't like the direction it was going in, and so I just stopped, right? And then a year later, I got this idea. You might know Animus Drifter on YouTube. He does this crazy parkour stuff, Animus edits, and he really inspired me to start making Animus stuff on my own. Then I contacted him and I was like, okay, how did you do that? And he introduced me to this program called Fusion. I mean, DaVinci Resolve, but Fusion inside it. So then I just started basically playing around with motion graphics and 2D, like those text boxes you may see in some of my videos. And I was like, okay, I would like to rebrand the channel, but it needs to be, I want it to be unique. So somebody who I don't know, who does his own thing, right? And I was like, okay, Sync, basically because of the Animus, right? And Breaker came along just because, well, I had the intention of doing something nobody will do, right? I mean, obviously in the start I copied him, which we spoke about, and it's just a funny thing we return to occasionally. But yeah, so basically that is how I started. I decided to go into the parkour side of things again. And yeah, then I started doing kind of tiny stories inside those parkour videos. So I wanted every parkour video to have a purpose, right? To have some sort of story, and I just came up with stories. Yeah, so that's the long and short of it. But Unreal Engine, well, that came along in August 2025. So I was like, in June, I had my eye on it, but I didn't quite understand what it was. All my life I've been interested in film, so I was like, okay, well, this is pretty interesting because these guys, you can actually make your own films inside this with no budget. Like you can actually do it if you learn it. So I just started going at it. I just started grinding, just started learning, and 3 months into learning, I just made it's a very bad cutscene of Toma de Carnelion and one guy I made up, right? And I just weaved it into a gameplay video and called it a day. But it was the first step towards what is now, right? So yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, actually, Antonio, because I watched the Sleeping Legend earlier, which I think is what you're referring to.
Oh yeah, I'm referring to the one before. So it's
Okay.
yeah, it's like something. It's my take on how the prologue of AC Unity should have been. So with Toma de Carnelion, but yeah, the Sleeping Legend. Honestly, it was a bit better. Yeah, it was. I'm happy with that. Yeah, especially since it was a team effort and it's very close to my heart. Yeah.
This is really cool because from what I'm hearing, you've managed to self-teach yourself, like self-taught. And
Mm.
I was wondering, is there any like coding that's involved, or is it like asset management and things, or do you create your own assets, or does it depend on the way you're going with the fan project? Because some of it involves like Assassin's Creed mods, and others are within the Unreal Engine. So there's two like styles of project which you work on.
Yeah. So basically, the approach was yeah, regarding there's no coding because it's just Unreal has this dedicated filmmaking side of things, so it isn't just, many people know it as a game engine. It really isn't. Like people the Mandalorian, I don't know if you've seen it, but
Mhm.
virtual production is used all through the film, and it's done in Unreal Engine. So
Wow.
yeah, that's insane. So I'm like, I love it. And yeah, regarding the assets, that is why I'm like very firm about mentioning that it's fan-made content, because and non-commercial, because I'm taking the assets from the games, so they're not my assets. Some of the assets, yeah, close-ups, I did myself because of texture fidelity and applying displacement texture so they're more realistic. But yeah, 95% of things are from the games. So that is why I'm like, all credit goes to Ubisoft. I'm just doing my own thing here. And yeah.
That's really cool. And I watched both of your projects today. I'd say like your more well-known projects, so the Retribution, which is the latest release, and the Sleeping Legend. I
Yeah.
like how they incorporate Assassin's Creed music into them as well. I think that's really great. And I just wanted to ask about your like relationship with Ubisoft, if you've ever had any sort of like copyright strikes or anything.
Yeah, so nothing
This
ever
is good.
happened. Yeah, nothing ever happened, and I'm to be honest, I'm quite surprised. But since nothing ever happened, I would like to keep doing it and keep I don't know, keep pushing my own boundaries, seeing what's possible, and hopefully they endorse us even. I don't know. I have no idea what could happen. So yeah, I'm just glad that it got noticed by you guys. You guys are big on Twitter. I've been like, since I was a kid, I was following you guys. So yeah, it's very cool for me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing I wanted to ask as well, what are the difficulties that come with creating a project like this?
Well, my biggest roadblock so far has been the lack of good motion capture. As you might know, it's very expensive, so I cannot just go around and buy a mocap suit and call it a day. So um, I was like, there are these AI solutions, but they're only single camera. So I had to, oh man, I had to sacrifice so much potential screen time and storytelling because of my lack of animation. So now, well, I'll have a surprise for everybody because I got 3 cameras now and a multi-camera solution. So the animations are going to be way better. So yeah, basically the biggest obstacle is animation, high fidelity animation. Yeah.
But this is super impressive what you're achieving, by the way, Antonio. And I got a comment in the chat from my co-host. James was wondering how old you are to be achieving all this.
Yeah, well, if you saw my face, you would never believe it. I'm bald and I have a beard, but I'm 21. I was born in
Wow.
2004. Yeah, I'm 21.
This is seriously impressive stuff because you're learning how to do all this stuff. And I was wondering if you've ever considered going into like development of a game or anything, or even joining Ubisoft, because that's basically what you're doing, really.
Well, listen, I don't know what to tell you. Like, the most appealing thing to me about all this, I mean, CG in general, it's you know the trailers they used to make. Ubisoft would, I don't know, get a studio to make a trailer. For example, the AC Revelations trailer. That is the stuff I would like to do. Yeah, writing. I'm passionate about writing, about making stories, creating stories, and bringing them to life in general, not just AC. But this is, I'm grateful that I have this platform where people can see my growth and what I want to do. I just keep experimenting. Yeah. So I mean, joining Ubisoft, well, of course. I mean, but I got a lot more work to do to I think be considered for such a thing. Yeah.
That's really cool. And it's great to hear that you've got these sort of ambitions and perhaps one day it could lead into that. I mean, this is literally like a video version of a portfolio for a job. So hopefully one day, if that was your ambition, you could step across into this sort of thing. And this is the thing, like when I was writing the introduction for this episode, there's so much that comes under what you do. So we've not even got into the script writing side of it, the voice acting side of things, because these are like some of the characters we know already, but others have been like mentioned in Assassin's Creed. Or like to give an example, when I was watching The Retribution, there's a French assassin in that one, and I would say that the accent in that is better than any we heard in Assassin's Creed Unity. The writing was excellent. You go to the Sleeping Legend, you mentioned Thomas de Carnelion, his accent was fantastic. And it's just stuff like this, like it's well crafted fan projects that are going on here, like the writing, like I mentioned, voice acting, and then you've got to think about building all the world around in Unreal Engine, or reusing assets that are already there. And yeah, it's just such a clever jigsaw to put together all the pieces. And how do you start with this? Do you start with the writing, or do you start with sourcing voice actors? Where do you start a project, and how long does it take?
Yeah, so basically, I'm not even. I cannot consider myself even a semi-professional in creating a project, because the way the way I started was just winging it. I just decided. I mean, the guys I collaborated with on the Sleeping Legend, Bench and Bale, Jabaki, and was it? Yeah, Comet was he was the sound designer. So we just Bench came to me. Okay, we should do this story, like with you mentioned Domenico Auditore in the first thing, like in the gameplay. So maybe we could do something like that. And I just got so inspired. I was like, okay, we must do it. So it was just basically the way I'm starting projects now is first I get references, so ideas, what I would like it to look like. And then basically you storyboard it after so then you write it, obviously, but then you storyboard it according to the script. So it's so you have a somewhat clear vision of what you wanna do with it, right? But yeah, initially I had no idea, so I just I mean, I would write it and I would just start doing it. No organization, no nothing, but that's the way you learn, you know.
Absolutely. That's really cool to hear. And like I mentioned before with the voices, so it's not just you doing the voices on your own. There are other people. There's a bit of a team behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, so the voices, I mean, for the film, we just used AI, but I acted everything out myself. So it's just, I mean, I used the voice changer, right? But for the retribution, I actually got real people, which is incredible. So it's Nicholas was he'll be very happy to hear your praise of the accent. It's Animus Drifter, right? I mean, I credited him, right? But Three Prophets, he was Connor, and he just blew me
Yeah,
away. Yeah,
really good.
yeah,
A really good Connor.
he was awesome. And Father Timothy, I didn't credit myself, but actually, if you go back and listen to it, that was me. That was my voice.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, I try to get that raspy tone, old man tone. It doesn't really sound convincing, but well, we didn't have an older voice actor, so I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. Yeah.
So what we'll do is in post production we'll add some like sneak preview, like teaser from the Retribution. I think it was 5 minutes long in total, so
Yeah.
we will leave a link in the description. But we'll overlay some bits from it. But yeah, like you mentioned, the Connor accent, that was really like a standout bit for me. And another bit that stood out for me as well was how it sort of replicates the homestead missions from Assassin's Creed 3. You know, that relationship Connor has with the people who live in the area, and like you mentioned, the father as well at the church, that relationship with him as well. So I thought that was really nice. Connor, if he was to become an older character, like we see in that, he would maintain this nice relationship with the people around him, and he would go for advice from people he's known for many years. And like I said, the people in the homestead would be this sort of relationship. So I thought that was really well written.
Oh man, I appreciate it so much. Yeah, well, I was trying to stay faithful to Connor as a character, so this would feel like a natural extension of that story, of his story, continuation, so to speak. So yeah, I felt like he would seek wisdom from a man he knows is wise. He knows I mean, he's older, so, and he's way calmer than the rest of the people because he's a priest. But yeah, I mean, not necessarily because of that, just because of that, but in AC3 we know that, like, when you upgrade, when you get the church going, right, you get a notification like the priest will offer, I don't know, counsel or something to the homestead, something like that. I forgot, but yeah, basically that was the theme I wanted to play with. So Connor, despite being this more experienced guy, regardless, he seeks advice from somebody wiser than him. So yeah.
That makes total sense, to be fair. And like I say, it really does play into the homestead missions, which I think a lot of people miss when playing Assassin's Creed 3. And it brings out this softer, calmer side to Connor. And I actually think Connor in the homestead missions is the best version of himself. He's not as angry. And yeah, you just see a different side to him. And I feel like this reflects that in a way.
Yeah, man. Oh man, the homestead missions, wow. They just, yeah, so many people go through the game, just go through the main story, and then, I mean, Achilles just disappears from the story, like in sequence 11, I think. Yeah, and then people might wonder, well, where'd he go? And I think the best way to approach AC3 is just play the story and play the homestead missions as they appear on the map.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have the best, most natural progression of Connor's story, of Connor's arc, and then you actually see this other kind, as you said, softer side of him in those missions towards his people, and that is completely wonderful, because the whole thing of Connor is like, he's for the people, he's for his people, but unbeknownst to him, he built a new community of his people, of his new people, right, in the homestead. So it's just a wonderful arc, I would say.
Definitely. And Connor has a really painful life. A lot of terrible things happen. So when you do see him enjoying little moments in life, such as with the homestead civilians, or even just when you see him smile at his friend's wedding, it means more because he's had that pain, and this is him just taking a quiet moment. So it was nice to see in the Retribution. It does feel like that continuation of Connor's happiness.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, the retribution was just the thing I wanted to establish some sort of emotional conflict so it isn't boring. So he has a reason to go to Paris, because I seriously doubt that. I mean, first of all, I wanted to make him retired or semi-retired from the life. I don't know, because he didn't have an enemy to fight. Right, the story was over. So there needed to be a very strong reason for him to be pulled back into that life. And so I just wrote that a letter introduction to his wife. So we assume she's in the frontier or somewhere else. He's gonna be joining her, and then this guy just comes out of the blue and he says, "Okay, my brothers are in danger. We need you." And yeah, my that visual storytelling side of things, part of the film, after the church scene, was a blast to make, because I just leaned heavy on the visuals, and I had that Hatham voiceover as well. I loved it,
Yeah.
yeah, and especially that scene in the basement where he looks at the robes, here's Achilles. Bro, it's just I loved making it. Yeah, I loved making it.
This was great, and I'm glad you mentioned that as well, because you didn't like recreate the voices of these characters like Achilles or Haytham
Yeah,
directly from the game, so fans will recognize the voices. So yeah, it was really great to see.
yeah, man. I mean, from the it was the only way to go. I needed to I needed to compensate for the lack of animation with emotional, I don't know what's the word, emotional something. Okay, let's call it like that. Yeah, because with the music and the voiceover, it really hit me. So I was just like, I kept rewatching it because it was so unbelievably good to me. So I was like, okay, if this hits me this much, it might hit the people in a certain way as well. So I kept it like that.
That's awesome. And another thing I wanted to mention as well is I like Connor's clothing in it. So he
Mm.
sort of goes from a bit like the Achilles painting, like a very like dapper, posh look, to then obviously going on the Aquila on the ship with the original Connor robes on, like from the back, you see like the shot. So it was really cool to see the transition.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to put an emphasis on that, especially on that, because it was okay. He's coming back. He's coming back into form. Uh, if the animations were better and I had more time, sure, it would have been a more gradual transition. But I think this hits the mark as well. So yeah, the robes. I mean, he might not look like Connor, during the film in those clothes, but when he puts the robes on, you know who it is.
Yeah, that's cool. I
Uh,
mean, it's Connor from the voice as well. I mean, the voice was
yeah,
excellent, and the lines as well were like akin to AC3. Like a lot of them were like what would you have me do, and like things along them lines. Where it's like, yeah, that's Connor. That's how he would say things, and
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what it. As I said, I did my best to remain faithful to his original character, to pay respect to it, but most of all, I mean, initially I just kept. We didn't know who to. I mean, cast. Cast is a bit of a dumb word for this situation, but okay, cast as Connor. We had no idea, so I was on Willis Makes Movies stream, and he just did a Connor impression. I was like, bro, I need you. Like, okay, come on. And then we were like, after some talking, we decided he would be a better Shay. So he will voice Shay eventually, when that is ready. But I was like, okay, we have no idea. Let's hit up Noah Watts. And then I was like, okay, I cannot send him a message on Twitter. I just kept tagging him, and he didn't respond. So I was like, I just kept looking, and thankfully, we found our guy. It was amazing. Like, it was amazing, his performance.
Really was. And that's really cool that you mentioned that there's a project in development, a sequel to this. And I was wondering if it's going to be a similar sort of length, because you mentioned at the start that Connor will now go across to Paris to find Shay Cormac. Willis makes movies, so a good friend of the show, Lewis, is voicing Shay Cormac. So it's
Yeah.
all coming together nicely. You've got the setting, you've got your voice actor. So how's that project coming on, and how long roughly do you think fans will be waiting for it?
Oh, well, to be completely honest with you, I want it to be a flagship thing. I really want it to be quality. I really want it to be good. And it deserves to be told at its own pace. So currently I'm writing it and I really like how it's looking right now. But I was thinking of actually to make the wait a little bit shorter, to upload it in an episodic format, right? So part one, part two, part three.
This is cool.
Yeah, I have no idea, no, not even an estimation when it would happen, because I have so many real life things, and it's just very time consuming, that project. If I had two more 3D artists like Unreal Engine 5 art, it would be great, but I don't. So I gotta be realistic, and it will it will come when it's ready. But in the meantime, I got a couple of shorter projects, shorter ideas. So I think that will be very cool as well.
That's awesome. And fans will wait and they'll be excited when it does release. And lots to look forward to with that, because obviously Ubisoft, as we know it, they're not planning anything currently with Connor or Shay or these characters. So they are just sat there with untapped potential. So it's cool to see that fans are stepping in and filling that void.
Yeah. Well, well, I don't, those kinds of videos, like they do something and then they put a clickbait title. Oh, Ubisoft didn't want to do this, so we did it. I don't like that. Okay, it's because of them that we have these stories, we have these games. So they made their decision. They're a studio. They decided to go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, we have the opportunity to pay respect to these characters and to do them justice, tell our story the way we think it would have been told if it actually happened. So yeah, I'm just very excited that people. I'm very happy that people are excited for this, because going into this Unreal thing, I had no expectations whatsoever, and the support just blew me away.
That's amazing. And it is something unique within the Assassin's Creed community as well. And before we get on to the Sleeping Legend as well, I just wanted to go into maybe a bit about your own personal life. Where are you based in the world?
Okay, so right now, I'm in Split, Croatia. So
Wow.
Croatia. I'm Croatian. Um, so yeah, right now I'm here, but I was in Italy for how is it, like for a year or two? Yeah, a year and a half, let's say, because I was all around. But Italy was my, let's say, main base, right? And I plan on returning there in a few months. So that is kind of why I'm like all over the place. I'm working, and now I have this Unreal Engine thing going, and yeah, it's very nerve wracking, but it's also very exciting because, well, I'm doing something. I have something to look forward to. So that is basically where I'm at personally right now. Just um, looking forward to doing something and moving again, because yeah, Italy has my heart. Yeah, yeah.
That's really cool to hear as well, because I don't think I know of any other Assassin's Creed fans or content creators based in Croatia. So that's really cool to hear. I think that's the first time I've heard that actually. And I'm not that familiar with Croatia other than Game of Thrones filming, and it's meant to be very beautiful. A lot of people in the UK go on holiday now to where they film, the steps up to the big cathedral, the Red Keep.
Yeah, Dubrovnik, that's
Yeah.
the city. Yeah, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous city. But it's unfortunately it's it suffers from over tourism, right? In summer, you cannot go there, and during summers, it's awful. But I mean, it deserves it. It's very attractive city, and as you mentioned, Game of Thrones, that's a very big appeal as well. So people want to see that, experience that. And yeah, I mean the whole coast is crazy during summer. So yeah, people thrive because of tourism, and well, I'm happy because of that.
That's awesome. And when you say Italy, whereabouts roughly would you like to move to or have plans to move to? Beautiful country
So
as well.
yeah, I was in Rome. I'd like to go back to Rome. Yeah, that's the city I adore that city, and yeah, I'm planning to go to film school there. So just I'm just setting stuff up to get ready to get ready to move, but I gotta work here for a few months, then hopefully we'll
That's
go.
awesome. That's really cool to hear. And again, Rome's a place that has my heart as well. We spoke about it last week on the Valentine's Day episode. It's where I
Yeah.
proposed to my wife. It's where they're filming the Assassin's Creed Netflix TV series. Apparently, it's going to be set in ancient Rome, but we'll get into that a bit later. And yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
really special place. And for you to go there to film school, that's so cool. And what an ambition to have. And is this something you need to apply for, or have you already been accepted in? How's that looking?
Yeah, so I've already been like I've enrolled. I just gotta. Well, it starts October, so it's a long way away right now. But yeah, I'll bide my time. I'll be patient, and in the meantime, I'll just keep doing this Unreal Engine stuff. And yeah, I actually got a. Well, I got another project coming soon, but it's very different to what people might have gotten used to. It's still AC, but it's kind of different because I've been following this course, and we actually made a short film, but I put an AC spin on it just because I want to upload it on the channel for people to see. So yeah.
That's fantastic. We'll keep an eye out for that then. And is that something that's coming
Yeah.
over the next few months, do you reckon, or closer to fruition?
Yeah, it's basically almost done, but I don't want to upload it until I'm certain that I have the next thing set in motion. Possibly before April, I would say before April. Uh, yeah, possibly before April. But
Very
in the
cool.
meantime, yeah, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
That's really cool. It feels like you've got loads of projects on the go at once.
Yeah, I do, but this is an easier one to manage because, as I mentioned, it's a course. So I just follow the guys, and it's an incredible short film. Like the fidelity is awesome, and I'm very excited to see it. It's very good, and they actually motion captured the animations. They're very lifelike, something that was never seen on my channel before. And I want to add, since I got that multicam setup, now I can do some better motion capture. And I just wanted to do a test mocap, so just a fun little video, like maybe half a minute long. Altair in the Masyaf library, just doing some stuff, just showcasing what the motion capture solution can do. So that is something I would like to do. Um, I don't know, very soon. Yeah, very soon.
Really cool. Fans will love that as well.
Uh, I imagine. Yeah, I'm just trying to do unique stuff and just have fun, right? Not take it too seriously, so it consumes me. But yeah, and I'm sorry. I just want to mention James's comment here. Willis in a video, we need to talk about this. So that's your call, but I just wanted to mention it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, please do. Please do. So Shay Cormac for
Yeah.
Lewis, he's well known for his ability with voice acting, and yeah, he did a bit of acting himself. We've had him on the show, and yeah, he was a great guest. And I know on the Podyssey he does a lot of voices, so a natural choice for Shay Cormac. That'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's gonna be. Thankfully, we have a great. He's a fantastic sound designer, Comet Hunter. Like he's just incredible. I mean, he does the sound. So he can pitch Lewis's voice down if needed because Shay is like 60, 70 years old.
Mhm.
And at the time this film would be set in. So we'll see. And now I just read, oh, I meant when I get him back on the show. Okay, okay, that's my fault. Okay, I
No,
misunderstood it.
it's interesting though. That's cool that you've got this sort
Yeah,
of like sound manipulation you can do because, like you say, Shay has got quite like a gravelly voice, and if he's an older
yeah,
character as well, I'm sure Lewis can pull off a great Irish accent. So that'll be
yeah.
good.
He can, yeah. I mean, he sent me some stuff, and I love it. Like I love and he would love to do it. So I'm like, okay, let's go ahead, let's do it. But yeah, we have all kinds of well, so far I would like to include Napoleon, like absolutely.
Nice.
So yeah, that is somebody I will need a voice actor for. But yeah, when it's time for that, we need the main cast first, like Connor, Arno, and Shay. That's what we need. So we need to find Arno now, and then we'll see.
Oh, well, if any of you guys in the comments feel like you're up to the challenge, send over some clips to SyncBreaker, and this is your
Yeah,
opportunity to step out of the shadows and give voice acting a job. That's incredible to
yeah,
hear that you'd listen to people's applications, maybe. And yeah, James says he can't speak French, but neither can Arno really in Assassin's Creed Unity. So,
yeah, exactly. Like French isn't a requirement. Like I gotta go back to what you mentioned about Thomas de Carnelon, just the accent, because that's I acted it out myself. So I don't know French. I just faked it. When he says like merde or
yeah.
like bonne chance mon ami, just fake it, just do something, right? Just listen to how the French would say it and then try to replicate it to the best of your ability. So yeah,
Amazing. I'm glad you mentioned Thomas as well because I wanted to
yeah,
go into the Sleeping Legend because I watched that
sure,
earlier today, and that's a 12-minute long fan film which is made very much with I'd say the assets of Assassin's Creed Unity. It's got that feel about it. I'd say it's got the Phantom
yeah,
Blade in application at times, and we'll overlay in the post edit some snippets from it. But for
yeah,
me, it really stood out to me as like this is what Assassin's Creed co-op and multiplayer could be like because the two characters, so Thomas de Carnelion and was it Domenico Aldatore,
Domenico, yeah, 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 yeah,
working together to take down the guards and were like moving swiftly through like a graveyard at one point. And what I really liked about it was the way one would like throw a smoke bomb while the other one would go to like a vantage point, wait for them to be
hmm,
distracted and would like assassinate. So it's like they were working in tandem, they were in sync together, and it was really
yeah,
cool. It just reminded me of like a two-player co-op. And is that something you were going for? I saw the word co-op in the title of it as well.
yeah. Absolutely, yeah. We gotta thank our guy Benchen Bale Stealth for that. He was, I mean, he coordinated the entire stealth sequence. It was incredible. It was tremendously difficult to achieve. To such well, I don't want to sound pretentious, but to such a degree of perfection. I think it was great. I think it was very well done, and we would spend hours, Jabaki and me, we did the gameplay. We would spend hours on Discord, like, because as you know, Unity has these issues, co-op especially, connection cutting off, then you cannot join, then this happens, like all kinds of stuff, all kinds of issues. But yeah, the co-op part, I'm so proud of what we've done. Unbelievably good. I mean, of course, I'm biased, but I think it's very good. Yeah,
It was incredible, and like I say, it really does sort of leave me wondering what an Assassin's Creed co-op experience could look like. And then I think the Sleeping Legend is a great example. We'll leave a link in the description below, guys, and we'll get some footage over the top now for you as well. But in particular, I love the use of the Phantom Blade, the amount of enemies that are like
mhm,
swiftly dispatched, and then there's the main, like I guess you call it like the main template at the end with the Crusader outfit on. That's impressive as well. Like it looked like unique assets and armor, which I'd not seen before.
yeah. So let me burst the bubble, kill the magic, so to speak. So that guy at the end, we just took. You might remember the guy from Altair Memory One in AC Revelations.
Yeah, okay.
The trailer, he was wearing a black caped Crusader outfit. So it's basically that outfit. I just retextured it in Photoshop, right?
It's amazing.
Yeah, I just did some. Yeah, I just put a red cross on it, made it white, and yeah. But the Phantom Blade, we were thinking, should we use it? Should we not use it? But just for the sake of flow, gameplay flow, um, I think it was necessary. So we just opted for that, and it didn't kill immersion. What should have killed immersion was the guards carrying guns on their backs, like in their holsters. Like it's 1323, and they're like French Revolution guards. But we couldn't get the mod to work for the DLC, so we were like, okay. We addressed it later on. Domenico and Thomas speak about it briefly, but it isn't outright mentioned, so many people might not have gotten that.
Yeah, I definitely didn't notice that. I didn't feel like it broke my immersion at all, to be fair. They just look like
Good.
guards. And what I really liked about the end bit, with the, like we mentioned, the Crusader or the Templar
Yeah.
Knight, is one of them speaking to him, and then Domenico comes up behind and like assassinates from behind, and then it sinks out into the White Room, and it was like, yeah, this is like original Assassin's Creed. This is what AC used to feel like. So it's real like nostalgic vibes going on there. It's cool.
Oh, it was a last minute addition, the White Room. I just had the plan of, I mean, Domenico would kill the guy, and that's it. We move on to the next scene. But I was like, okay, I was playing with these fog shaders, like the moving fog or volumetric fog, for composition, and I was like, okay, well, what if I replace the texture with the AC1 Animus, right? And I just kept playing with it, and I got that. Oh wow, this is possible. Okay, let's make a White Room scene, and yeah, that was the last scene I actually did.
That's really
So
cool.
I'm very happy that it actually happened. I mean, looking back, obviously it isn't as good as I thought it would be, but it was my first ever attempt at making a film, so I'm very happy with it. Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent, to be fair. And it's
thank
cool
you.
to see that fan projects like this exist because it's such a unique thing. And I don't know if other communities, such as like Skyrim or Fallout, if they have things like this, but it's really cool to see that fans are taking an initiative. They're writing fan fiction, but taking it to the next level. They're voice acting it. Yeah, it's just so cool to see. And yeah, really great job with it, by the way, and the team around you as well. Are they really supportive of it? And how are they? And how does it all get coordinated? Is it all like Discord or phone calls?
Yeah, so we have a Discord server. It's a private Discord server. There's like four of us on there. The guys that have been doing these, I mean, that have done the Sleeping Legend, right? And it's just we brainstorm over there. We test co-op sessions. We do all kinds of stuff over there. Talk about the next projects, the projects that would actually require co-op and such. Yeah, for the Paris thing, we are planning co-op gameplay again. Connor and Arno, I think that would be sick. So
That would definitely be good.
um, yeah, that is what we're leaning towards. But I wanna make it a proper film, or as I mentioned, an episodic structure, so it doesn't feel like gameplay cutscenes. You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
just a straight narrative. So we gotta play with the camera mod and see if some cinematic angles are possible during gameplay. Yeah,
That's fantastic. So lots to look forward to from SyncBreaker and the team there, guys. So we'll keep you informed, and we'll hopefully get you back on for a future episode as well. So gonna
absolutely. And I gotta, sorry for
that'd be great.
interrupting you, but absolutely, because I gotta get the camera working. I'm so mad. I'm still mad about it. I'm still mad. I'm salty, but
And that'd
yeah,
be great.
yeah.
Once you get it all done, and like you say, it is very much like trial and error, but it's really come together. You've got a great team around you, so really excited to see what the future holds. So gonna move across now, guys, to the news section of the show, and we sort of
Yeah.
kick off today's news with the Ubisoft financial results which have come out, which now paint a different picture for the future of the company. So the financial results for the 9 months ending December 31st, 2025, they reported an 18% increase in net bookings to 1.1 billion, mainly driven by Assassin's Creed. So this is interesting, really, because according to Ubisoft, there was an excellent outpour of finances generated by the Assassin's Creed franchise. It surpassed expectations. In particular, they give credit to the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows on Nintendo Switch 2 and the launch of Valley of Memory for Assassin's Creed Mirage. So they're now stating that the Assassin's Creed franchise has overperformed this quarter, noting that year-on-year growth in active users is in double digits. So I want to ask you, SyncBreaker, do you think things are now stabilizing at Ubisoft? And are we in like a period now where Ubisoft are at a strong point?
Well, to be quite honest, I am not quite sure just yet because this past year has been quite turbulent, to say the least, right? And we had AC Shadows, then we had all sorts of backlash for that game. Then obviously we had the DLC for Shadows as well. All sorts of cancellations, year 2 cancellations, as far as I know, right? And we had a sort of soft revival, for lack of a better word, with Valley of Memory for Mirage, which I thought was incredible. So right now, I think that I would be able to give you a concrete answer if we had the AC4 remake out right now, because then I would be able to tell you, okay, if it were good, obviously, I think we're on the right track, and obviously if the fan reception is good, they would be on the right track, and hopefully they would see, okay, this works, the people want this, let's keep doing this, right? Let's give them what they want, let's give them what works, what used to work, because right now they're on all sides, and I think they're breaking on all sides, which is sad to see. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And it has been a crazy year in terms of Ubisoft. Now, a lot of people have lost their jobs. It's been really difficult for people working at the company. And you are right as well. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced is guaranteed to bring in a lot of money, and it's going to generate so much income. But for them to move it out of that window, it makes you think they're looking to do it in a different fiscal year. And this is cool because it sort of ties in nicely with another news point. And this is that Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming has suggested now that the official reveal for Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced will be April, which means a release in 2026 may still be possible. So when do you think Black Flag Resynced will come out? And do you think it will be this year or next year? Thinking about GTA 6 releasing as well. So when do you think the release window for that game will be?
Yeah, so it's quite interesting because I read about it on X the other day too. The April thing, right? The reveal in April. So then I saw a possible release date, July 28th. That's my birthday, so that would be perfect. So let's I hope let's hope for that, right? But realistically speaking, I think 2027 would be the best idea for them. But then again, I'm not a developer, so I have no clue what I'm talking about. If I were them, I would do it in 2027, especially if it's quote unquote unfinished. From what I've read, I'm just pulling stuff out of what I actually read. So yeah, in my opinion, I think 2027 is more likely. But if the game is almost finished, if the game is ready, I wouldn't mind having it in 2026. Yeah.
That'd be great. I think July would be a really cool time to launch it. You know, everyone, it's summer. It is in a way a summer game, really. You know, there's nice weather in it and everything. So
Sure.
maybe we can, fingers crossed, hope for a birthday release for you. That'd be nice.
Sure. Yeah. I would hope so. Yeah. I mean, I just hope it works for them because I don't know which direction they're taking with the game. But it's just surreal to me that it's actually happening. Like AC4 out of all games, AC4 is getting a remake. So
Yeah.
that is quite interesting. But yeah, let's hope for a July release. Although I think it's unlikely, but I hope I'm wrong.
And sometimes Assassin's Creed like to release around the October-November window, but then we know GTA 6 is currently earmarked for that end of year. So that's going to be a really difficult time to release any game. It's just going to be wiped out really by the noise that's going to be generated by that game if it does release and doesn't get pushed back again. I believe it's been pushed back 3 or 4 times now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anyone's brave enough to release around that time frame, and if Ubisoft would consider doing that themselves.
Yeah, I mean GTA is just it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal in the whole entertainment industry, not just gaming industry. It's a behemoth. It's insane. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because my thinking, my like realistically thinking, my estimation for the AC4 release, if it were to happen, it would be March 2027, just like AC Shadows was delayed from what was it? Was it November? Was it November? I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, November 2024, and then it got delayed to March 20th, right? 2025. So I think that's the thing we will see with AC4, but without any delays. Just a straight up, okay, March release date, if they don't release it this year, right?
It's interesting you mentioned before as well that it's interesting that we're getting an Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake before like an AC1 remake. So if you were thinking about it logically, why would Assassin's Creed Black Flag come before AC1? But it looks like that's the way it's going to happen.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I would love an AC1. It's my favorite AC game. Like AC1 is wow. It's just it embodies what AC actually is. Like in my opinion, no AC game has ever come close to it. AC3, I would say AC3 came close, narratively speaking. But the Assassin Fantasy AC1, but it's just aged. It visibly aged, right? And if we had an open world structure, not a huge open world, just the kingdom and the 3 cities, maybe some smaller settlements in between, and obviously Masyaf, right? I think that would be a phenomenal game, simply because of the possibilities today, the crowds leaning into the social stealth, the social aspect of the philosophy of the game. That would be the perfect game for me. But yeah, I'm not gonna complain about getting an AC4 remake. No way. Yeah.
I hope they do step in and make an AC1 remake one day. And I guess the difficult question for that game is, who would voice Altair? Would it be the original voice actor, or would it be Revelation's voice actor? And I think there's some problems with that as well, because during the Me Too movement, there were certain allegations made, not of a sexual nature, I don't believe, but there were, I think it was bullying complaints. But a lot of companies refused to work with, I'm referring to Cassandra, a lot of companies refused to work with him now. And I wonder if Ubisoft would bring him on, or would they bring a third Altair voice actor on? It's sort of a difficult position for the company. And I forget the name of the original Altair voice actor off the top of my head. Philip Sharbaz, perhaps?
Yeah, it's Philip Sharbaz.
I think so. Yeah, but obviously the American accent probably wouldn't sit too well now, because obviously we've had a more authentic version in Revelation. So would they have to recruit a new voice actor? It's difficult for them, really.
So let me tell you something about Philip. He's actually, I'm not gonna say because I do not exactly know what his roots are, but he was in the Chosen TV show, the show about Jesus and his apostles, right?
All right.
And he played one of the Pharisees, and the accent, bro, that's Altair. That's completely perfect. That's completely perfect, because he actually can pull that accent off. But they specifically requested him to do an American accent for Altair in the first game. So yeah, I've been reading a lot about that over the years, and when I saw him in the TV show in The Chosen, wow. So yeah, I think he would be perfect for Altair. Yeah.
That's really cool. We'll have to find some footage and add it into the post edit of this show. So hopefully guys can hear it now to give you a bit of an idea of what we're talking about. But Yeah, that's really cool to hear that that's sort of the direction they went with. Maybe it's because they thought it'd be easier to understand at the time. We're thinking about 2007, and
Hmm.
this was something new as well. There can't have been many games set in that region of the world. And yeah, if they were to go back to the original voice actor, that could bring a lot of fans back to, especially if he was to do a different take on the accent. I actually really like both versions of Altair as it happens.
Yeah.
I like the naivety of Altair in the first game, especially like it comes across in his voice acting, the way he's sort of learning along the way. But in Revelations, you've got a more confident Altair who is wise, and yeah, it's two different portrayals of the character. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see which direction they would take in AC1 remake. But I too love that game, would love to see that made, and there's so much they can do with it. It was such an ultimate assassin fantasy. He was the OG, so it'd be great to see, and most likely to come after a Black Flag remake. But yeah, I would love to see Altair in the graphics we have today.
Absolutely, and same here. But one thing I failed to mention is something I don't think many people have seen. Philip Shahbaz actually on his YouTube channel, he did a voiceover for the AC1 trailer, and he actually did that accent for Altair. So I think you should check it out if you haven't. It was absolutely incredible. Yeah. So he actually got into a studio with his guys, and he just voice acted. I mean, did some voice lines for Altair, right? And the trailer was the was the overlay, was on screen, right? And I was blown away. So that is one of the arguments why I would love him to reprise his role again.
That's awesome. I love hearing this, and it sounds like it's all slotting into place if they were to go in that direction, and that would be really cool to see. And I'm sure a lot of you guys as well in the chat would love to see an Assassin's Creed 1 remake. And whilst we're talking about remakes as well, even though the Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced game hasn't been officially announced, we've had some sort of snippets and teases in the form of like leaks, which Ubisoft have indirectly confirmed, which we've mentioned on the show before. Interesting with the one with Zephyrus, which we had recently. We mentioned it about 2 episodes ago. But this week
Hmm.
we have an unusual one where our very own James Davis, Top Chef 1288, was scrolling Amazon and came across an art book by Titan Books. And this was an Assassin's Creed Resynced art book, which was listed
Yeah.
on Amazon. And the madness about this is James started talking about it online and it blew up. Like this went viral. But the thing is, all these companies started seeing it, content creators started seeing it. And along the way, James lost the credit, which he was obviously due. And it was really strange because his tweets and everything remained, his videos talking about this, what he just discovered. But we're reading articles by like IGN, for example, and like bigger companies as well, who are like big media outlets, and they're all like crediting people who didn't discover it, people who were just like rewording it and posting it. So yeah, very
Yeah.
strange. And James obviously should have had the credit for that. But well done for discovering that, James. I know you're in the chat here and a big part of the show, so well done there. I feel like you should have been credited more. But the interesting thing is, it listed the 24th of March as the release date, which is obviously very unlikely now. We're on the 15th of Feb, 24th of March for a game which hasn't even been announced yet. I mean, I wonder if this is sort of the original release date for Black Flag Resynced before it was delayed, and if that too will come out when the game comes out. So yeah, an interesting one because it's still on Amazon, but the title has now been redacted and it now reads Untitled Paperback. So it's almost like someone from Ubisoft has done damage control, like, oh, that shouldn't have been listed. Guys, can you at Titan Books remove it? Or maybe you can look at it the other way and be like, maybe Ubisoft wanted some free publicity and they've got them to add it to Amazon early. So what do you think
Yeah.
about this? Because along the way we've been discussing the possibility of Ubisoft sort of teasing this game through leaks and through things which shouldn't have been said, like Pure Arts, for example. They accidentally mentioned that there's more content to come. Matt Ryan as well has said there's more Edward coming. Things like this, little slips along the way. It's the worst kept secret. So what do you think? Do you think Ubisoft have maybe been directing us, maybe letting us know about this game without officially confirming it?
Well, I think they are doing it. Well, it can't not be on purpose, right? It's too, as you said, a worst kept secret ever. And the first time I saw Matt Ryan when he spoke about it, like you might get to finish the game again, I died, man. It was so funny. It was so funny. Then people were like, okay, he's getting sued. I don't think so. I think it was just do you know what might be what that might be a good tactic for example, for a shadow drop? You build up hype without actually revealing the game, right? So I think that would be pretty cool if they just dropped it in for example March, but yeah, I think that's highly unlikely right now. But even them on Twitter, they just Zephyrus, you mentioned him, like I saw under his post, they just put up that CJ meme. Right. Oh shit, here we go again. Yeah. So it's, yeah, I mean, they basically acknowledged it. So I don't know what's the hold up. Like just give us something. Just give us a trailer. Just give us something, right? Or a tease, anything, because we know it's coming. All of us know it's coming. So yeah.
Absolutely. And we've mentioned Shadow Drop on the podcast quite a lot. I know James is a big fan of the Shadow Drop. It's Oblivion Remastered has just set the tone now for what companies can do. You sort of deal with the backlash or the criticisms after launch. People are playing it for themselves and not so much listening to all the reviews. They're just diving straight into it. They're enjoying it. And it does sort of calm the sea of criticism, which comes out often with early access, from thinking of IGN. They're notorious for low scores on games before you've even played it, putting people off in advance. Wouldn't have the time to do that if it was Shadow Drop, because everyone could play it.
Absolutely. And the thing with Oblivion was they knew how loved the original game was, and they were like, okay, we just need and those leaks happened too.
Yeah.
Like the month before or 2 weeks before, I can't remember. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was just, okay, this cannot be real. This cannot be happening. Then some more leaks started coming out. And as I said, I'm not a developer, but if I wanted to hype up my game at least a bit, just make the people aware that there might be something coming, I would just let some leaks go through, because it's I think it would be a good tactic to get some eyes on the potential release, so as to hype it up. But yeah, Ubisoft, like with AC4, I mean, yeah, we all know it's gonna happen. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, it's definitely coming, and they can't do anything to hide it. Even though they took down the title of this book, by then, well, you could say the damage was done, but it's not damage because it's free publicity, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's win-win for Ubisoft. It's free marketing. Like people like us, the fans, we're doing the advertising of this game for them. We're hyping it up. All the media companies, like all the journalists and everything, they're all over this. And yeah, all started by James, that one. So well done, mate. And you can tell us a bit more about your experience next week in the episode and how you came to find it. And yeah, it really did blow up. So really cool to see that the origins of that were Rally the Creed podcast and the team behind it. So big win for us. And it's just
big
another...
Big up.
Yeah, great job. James has said no credit whatsoever. Absolutely. Along the way, the credit was just lost. And yeah, really sad to see, because obviously it was you that found it and definitely deserved the credit for that. But interesting to see that it's been redacted from Amazon, but it's still on there. And like I say, I imagine this book will also be pushed back to when the game launches. But yeah, it definitely feels strategic. And I think you mentioned it before, Antonio, that as well, this could be Ubisoft cleverly thinking out, how can we get people talking about it? How do we get articles about it, videos about it. I mean, there's probably more talk about Black Flag Resynced than there is Hexe now, which is like the next main title for Assassin's Creed. So yeah, it's definitely interesting, and we'll keep an eye on what's next because I'm sure this will not be the end of it. There's going to be more for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, we gotta get over that. Like the AC4, I think is gonna be hype. But today I actually read something that said it might not be what we are actually expecting, that it might be a soft, well, so, I don't know why I'm using this, but soft remake, so to speak, like a remaster more than a remake. Like they would keep the engine and then just up the graphics, like upscale it. But I don't think that's the case. I just read it somewhere today. I cannot really remember the source, but I read about it. Yeah, and it's but about Hexe, I we haven't heard anything in particular about it in like what 3 years now. What was it,
Right.
2022? Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know what to tell you except that I love the fact that it's going to be set in medieval Europe. It's going to be 16th century Germany, which is, yeah, I love it. Yeah, my dream setting is like medieval Europe, like 11th to 14th century. So this is pretty good. But I just hope it isn't as bloated as Shadows. You know, they had a good thing going, but ultimately, yeah, I didn't like it personally.
As far as I know, it is meant to be a smaller game. That ties in nicely
Yeah,
to one of our discussion topics, and that was going to be if. Do you think if Assassin's Creed Hexe avoids the assassin fantasy one more time, could it do damage to the series to play as a non-assassin once more?
absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I mean, it would be just beating a dead horse at that point. Like we've had so many games, like since Odyssey, we have had these non-assassin protagonists, and just, well, I call them excuses because they feel like that to me. Just an excuse so they can, I don't know, make a huge open world, which are beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Like medieval England, Valhalla, that was the most hyped I've been for a game in like for a long time, because they showed the assassin aspect, right? They showed Basim, Hytham in the trailers, and I saw England and medieval period. It was like, okay, this is my dream game. And then after it came out, it's just, I was like, whatever. Okay, it's a solid game. Like I genuinely like Valhalla, but somewhere along the way, you lose the mystery and you just want it to be over because it's just so bloated and there's no payoff. There's no payoff. You're not an assassin. You're just doing stuff the game tells you to do, and yeah. So I truly hope they lean into that assassin side of things and actually explore the conflict if there's anything to be explored. I mean, Darby McDavid's on it, so I have no doubts. I have no doubts whatsoever.
Yeah, they're definitely valid criticisms of Valhalla, and a lot of the scenarios in terms of like the sections, I think they call them arcs, they don't feel connected at all in Valhalla. And like you
Yeah.
say, all the mysteries feel like they unravel. And yeah, with that game, you sort of feel like you're doing the bidding of the assassins or the hidden ones, and then it turns out that you're actually doing work for Alfred the Great, who then becomes basically the original Templar. So yeah, you're sort of just like moving from left to right, doing jobs for people, sort of like Assassin's Creed 3, but without the payoff, if that makes sense. You know, Connor did a lot of errands as well. But in this,
Mhm.
Eivor doesn't really care. Like it's strange. You don't have that sense of like personal connection to the story other than family with like Sigurd and everything. And it's almost like the world around you is doing things, but you're just sort of like watching it happen, like the
Yeah.
events. So like I don't know. It's such a long game and bloated, and you end up meeting characters later in the game who you've forgotten about because they're from like the
Yeah.
start of the game. There's so many
Yeah.
people in that game, and it's such a long game. I've not played it since COVID times. Actually, it's been a long time. And Naren says Evo did set up the Templars, and I suppose you can look at it that way because removing certain people who were an obstacle so that the Templars could be set up. I suppose you could look at it like that. But I was listening to a podcast recently by AC Johnny, and he's a big fan of this because he believes that Alfred the Great was one of the smartest antagonists we've had in the whole season, sort of
Yeah.
playing both sides like a chessboard and sort of sending information to Eivor under a pseudonym, so under a different name. I think it was like my Christian soldier or something. I forget the
It's
exact name.
yeah, poor fellow soldier of
Yeah,
Christ.
yeah.
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
was like sending information about targets, and it's because he's become like disillusioned from his own group that he was a part of and wanted to start a new one. So he sort of sees it as like the ultimate chessboard, moving all the pieces into play to wipe them, knock them all down, and start up his own thing. So that's an interesting
yeah.
take on it. But yeah, it's a huge game with and because there's choice as well, there's multiple choice. You can have like various different endings in terms of like your relationship with Sigurd. So there is a lot of people say there's a good ending, a bad ending. So I see where you're coming from with that. And in terms of the assassin fantasy, I wonder with that game if they'd had like an assassin Viking, would that have been better? I know there's a lot of concept art on Google where people were pitching a Viking Assassin's Creed game with but that never really happened. Eivor had no interest in joining the Assassins, really. So, how do you feel about that? And would you have liked an Assassin Viking?
So interesting that you say it, because my personal the way I would have loved Valhalla story to go is, so let's say you get to the point. Well, I don't know if I can spoil stuff, but
Yeah,
well,
it's fine.
since we're talking, yeah. So you get to the point where Sigurd is brought to Alfred, right? And so he's basically, yeah, Basim and Eivor lose him. So then from that point, you cut the fluff, you cut the excess, you get Eivor to join with Basim and Hytham, and actually give Eivor a reason to eradicate the Order of the Ancients, or I mean, yeah, the opposing faction. So then I would say Eivor goes with them, works with them. He or she, whatever, he becomes an assassin, and then we would work our way up through the story and just keep looking for Sigurd, like keep searching. That would give the game reason to that would give you the reason to be an assassin, to play as an assassin, investigations, plots, conspiracies, all the stuff we actually love in AC. And then eventually Eivor has this new outlook on everything. He would find Sigurd, and we wouldn't have to go through your Essex and Lincolnshire and all those arcs, the filler arcs. So yeah, I think it would have been way more interesting if they went down that route and cut the story by like a few arcs that I honestly think were unnecessary. And as for Alfred creating the Templars, I mean, it's a beautiful spin on actual history, because in history, he had nothing to do with the Templars. The Templars were created in 1119 by Hugh de Payenne. He was a French grandmaster. He was their first grandmaster, right? So, and the poor fellow soldier of Christ, that was their well name. They were the poor fellow soldiers of the Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem. So that is where the name comes from. So it's a bit, yeah, 300 years before that, Alfred is just using that. But that's creative liberty I can get behind, because it was actually very well done.
That's really cool. What a great explanation as well, by the way. Incredible
Yeah.
history knowledge going on there. That's
Thank
brilliant.
you. Thank you.
But I totally agree. It felt like there were a lot of filler moments in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and they could definitely have chopped down a lot of the arcs. And it's funny, we mentioned giving Sigurd over to the king, and I always thought that was one of the stronger arcs, with Paladin Fulke and what she did to Sigurd to learn all about the Isu connection. That's one of the more memorable things in the game for me, but it totally could have worked really well for Eivor to go off and do a bit of training, do investigation missions, learn about where Sigurd had gone. But instead, it's just so brash head on, like charging in, give me him back, and no real thought, where they could have used that opportunity, like you say, to move
Yeah.
towards more of an assassin mindset. Even if not becoming a full assassin, it could have been more like Edward, having a better working relationship with the assassins
Yeah.
and then joining later on. That would have made more sense, but you never really see that, to be honest, in Valhalla.
Absolutely true. And I just read this comment by Narin. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. But yeah, it says, would it make sense Basim used Eivor to get back into the world, making Eivor an assassin, I feel would do damage to the lore. Yeah, but you have to remember, Basim thought Sigurd was the guy he was looking for, right? As he was Loki, right? Basim. So I think it would have been even more cool for Eivor to be an assassin, and then eventually he would have to face the guy who got him into that. So at the end, right, when Basim realizes, okay, Eivor is who I've been looking for, but then these two guys would have so much more of a connection than they already had in Valhalla. So yeah, and the well, the ones who came before aspect side of things, right? I don't like calling them Isu. I'm old school like that. So I actually enjoyed the fact the way they spun it, with Odin, Loki, and all the Norse gods, right? Then I think they lean too heavily into the mythical side of things, which might be confusing for newcomers. People will just say, okay, these are gods, and yeah, they're not a precursor race of people, right? So that is one of my issues with these newer games, because they lean too heavily into the mythical side of things, and tend to explain too much, which kills the mystery of, for example, AC Brotherhood. You were like, okay, who are these guys? These guys are so cool. We don't know much about them. And yeah, in Odyssey and Valhalla, you just you have all this exposition about them, which, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I totally see where you're coming from with that. And they really did lean into the mythical aspects in Valhalla, with the DLCs. Like I'm thinking Dawn of Ragnarok in particular, which is
Yeah.
all like, if you can read it as an Assassin's Creed fan, as this is all metaphorical for what happened in Isu times, but when you're playing versing like ice giants and things, it's just like, wow, like Assassin's Creed's dropped off. It's gone like super like mythological, and they've gone down this avenue. And then there was the other one as well, which was the one where you die and then you have to start from the beginning again, whatever that one was called. But they went hard on the mythological side. But I like that it was written by Darby and another team of people who sort of wanted to weave in the Isu, but in a more like mainstream way, if that makes sense. Like they obviously
Mhm.
wanted to get into the mythology of the Vikings and what they believed, the creation of the world and everything. And yeah, it was crazy though in the end what they did. And I like the way they mention the way it is like the idea of a sage, but they've done it with all of the sort of like the Norse Isu and the way
Mhm.
they come back in the form of, like you mentioned, Eivor and Basim, of course, with Loki, and then Sigurd, and there's a few throughout the story that the more people you meet, the more you realize that, oh wow, they're actually one of the Isu who are starting to unlock their memories. And if you go on the wiki, there's a full list of all of them and who they became, and they all
Yeah.
sort of came back in the same era. So that was cool to see, and I like the idea as well of how Basim or Loki has managed to manipulate events to become alive in modern day. I think that's so smart, but they've not paid off with it yet. I mean, that plot was established back then in like 2020, 2021, and
Mhm.
we were like, oh, what's next for Loki and Basim? But then we've had Assassin's Creed Mirage, and it's done nothing really with the modern day. And they've had opportunity as well with the Shadows modern day. They've done nothing in that. And they said that Basim or Loki is not like a focus on our modern day story right now, as if anyone is. I mean, we've just got like weird animus cutscenes in Shadows right now. It's like the modern day doesn't really matter. It's really strange what they're doing with it, because they set it up, and like Naren says, they never continued it. It was disappointing playing the next few games after. And how do you feel about this, Antonio? It's a weird one for me.
Quite a weird one, yeah, because well, it's just it feels like a waste because they just keep going back. With Desmond, we had what we had. Then we had a few games where, I mean, I don't know what they were doing, but then we got Layla, which actually could have gone somewhere. We actually had a playable protagonist. I mean, she wasn't, in my opinion, she wasn't that, I don't know, gripping as a character. But in Valhalla, I actually enjoyed the way the modern day was set up and written. But at the end, that massive thing in the gray with Desmond or the reader, that blew my mind. Yeah, that blew my mind. And I was like, okay, Basim is actually he's actually alive. He used the stuff. And I don't know if you remember, the cutscene for that is absolutely incredible. The way he like screams, grabs the staff. Well, bro.
Yeah.
And if the whole game was like that, it would have been so much better with such cutscenes. And they have the ability, but I don't know. I don't know why they don't use it. So yeah, I think they they should definitely get back to the Basim side of the modern day because, well, it's done. So why not use it? Why not explore it? Why not try to go there? But we'll see. We'll see about the next game. In Shadows, yeah, as you mentioned, again, it's a bit. I don't know what to tell you. I didn't, to be completely honest, I just finished the game. I didn't follow the post-launch updates or the Animus stuff. Yeah, I wasn't really interested in that. So I cannot really comment on that. But I remain hopeful. Well, I don't know why, but I remain hopeful that we might see some proper modern day sometime soon.
One thing which gets me hopeful about the modern day as well is that James Nadia has been brought back to Ubisoft. He was one of
Mm.
the original writers for Assassin's Creed Initiates. He created characters like Galina Voronina, and also he did a lot of work with like Sean and Rebecca in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. With the modern day stuff in that. So he's really like created characters for modern day. Initiates had some great plot lines as well, and so he's worked on modern day before. So hopefully he comes on and is like specifically looking at that. And obviously we mentioned Darby McDevitt, Christopher Grilly as well, who's been brought back on. So it's almost like they're reforming a narrative team of ex-devs. So people who have worked on Assassin's Creed in the past and they're coming back. So hopefully it's like the Avengers coming together to one last time to
Yeah.
do like a fantastic ending or whatever they choose to do in modern day, open it up for more opportunities. So yeah, it's interesting, and hopefully with this writing capability, I mean, mentioned before the drop off in Valhalla, it sort of like it had a good intro, dropped off in the middle with filler arcs, and then the ending was like incredible for a lot of people. So there is that quality divide in Assassin's Creed narrative, and we see it a lot as well. And yeah, I feel like that's where they're at, and hopefully they bring these people on, and we can have like stable narratives going forward, and bring back modern day in a way that is like personal, or maybe have the playable characters again. Just do something different with it and unique, and just remove the idea of like being like a faceless AI robot roaming Abstergo or whatever, like stuff like that. You can't connect to things like that. They need to find a way of making modern day more accessible to people and interesting as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I remember back in the day, so many people complained about the modern day, how it was so distracting. They just couldn't wait to get it over with so they can get back into the anime. And I understand, but the modern day was the driving force of the entire story. So either you have it or you don't have it at all, because AC4 through to Syndicate, I didn't like that. I mean, yeah, especially in AC4 and Rogue, and in Syndicate we actually had Sean and Rebecca, so I love that. But AC4 and Rogue, you're just this guy hacking PCs in this lobby, and it just, I don't know, it just felt weird to me. It just felt quite weird and unfulfilling. So yeah, Desmond. Desmond was the driving force, I think, of the modern day. And I was always looking forward to exploring more, seeing what was going to happen. And then in AC3, I could never have expected that to happen, the ending. So yeah, I was pretty disappointed.
Whilst we're talking about modern day, I wanted to ask you about the Assassin's Creed Netflix TV series and if you'd like to
Hmm.
see modern day in that or if you'd like it entirely to be set in the past. For a lot of people, this is going to be a window into the world of Assassin's Creed. They might never have come across it before. They'll see it
Yeah.
on Netflix and jump in. Do you think it needs a modern day or can it exist without, in your opinion?
I honestly think, because it's Netflix, so it has a huge budget. It will be a huge production. I think it honestly could benefit of just sticking in the past,
Okay.
unless they actually do a proper modern day, a grounded modern day, not the thing, because I'm afraid for the modern day in a TV adaptation, if we get a similar thing to the AC film, right? I don't think, I don't know if you remember, but
I do.
yeah, what they used for the animus, like it was, yeah, that film was just kind of ridiculous to me. Props to the actors, like they had a great cast. I mean, they did well, but the overall structure, setup, writing, I don't think it was good. So if they actually do a grounded modern day part, or like they dedicate the TV show, sorry, they make the modern day a driving force of the narrative, then yes. But if they just include it as some afterthought, or just for the sake of being there, I think they're better off sticking to the past. Yeah, and I'm quite interested in seeing what they're gonna do with. I saw it will be set in Rome, so that's quite interesting. Yeah.
Uh, It's interesting you mentioned that about the past because the official synopsis for the TV series has come out now. So it
Yeah.
came out the other day via What's on Netflix. So I'm going to read the official synopsis now, guys, for the upcoming Assassin's Creed Netflix TV series. And buckle up because it doesn't mention modern day at all. So maybe, like you
Uh,
say, SyncBreaker, maybe it is just set in the past. Like we don't know. We've had no confirmation. So who knows? But this is what they've written on this website. And it says, set in the vast and volatile world of ancient Rome, an era yet untouched by the franchise, the new series plunges players into political shadows of Nero's early reign. As the young emperor tightens his grip on power, his famed tutor and advisor, Seneca the Younger, struggles to curb Nero's darker impulses. When whispers of corruption, betrayal, and a mysterious hidden order begin to spread through the palaces and forums of Rome, a new assassin emerges from the fringes of the empire, tasked with uncovering a conspiracy that entwines Nero's ascent, Seneca's uneasy influence, and a plot that reaches from the imperial court to the city's underbelly. The assassin must navigate shifting loyalties and deadly intrigue. Set between 54 to 68 AD, this chapter explores the birth of tyranny and the blade poised to reshape history. So, what do we all think about that?
well, it is. It is. I mean, listen, it's an Assassin's Creed TV show. It's bound to be exciting for me personally, because, well, I'm just excited to see it. But in my opinion, since I'm not, this is a bit off topic, but I will try to weave it into this. I'm not a big fan of AC Origins, the way they retconned the entire storyline. But I think I would prefer this TV show as Bayek exists. Take Bayek and put him in Rome with Aya. Let's do something, right? I think I would prefer it to this, but then again, I know we don't have any concrete details about the story besides what you've read. So I'm very excited to see it, and it's a phenomenal setting. Emperor Nero, he was quite insane. So I'm very interested, in seeing how they're gonna tackle that. Yes.
Something that stands out for me in this, I would say, is the way they use the word assassin throughout it. But if
Yeah,
if it
assassin.
is
Yeah.
set in 54 to 68, it would be a hidden one, but they've not used that
Yeah.
term at all in the synopsis. They use the term assassin without a capital A. It's just like assassin, as in like mercenary, killer, connotations of that. Where like normally when you're talking about a member of the Assassin Brotherhood in Assassin's Creed, you use a capital A. So
Yeah.
I wonder if they are going to call them assassins, but can they? Because the word wasn't created for another like 1,000 years. And we've mentioned this on
Yeah.
the show before. But yeah, I agree. Nero was a crazy individual. We've gone through him quite a bit recently on the show. And just to tie back to some things we mentioned last week, he was potentially responsible for burning Rome to the ground,
Yeah.
kicking his pregnant partner, his wife, to death, killing another one, and crucifying people, Christians in particular, and just an
Yeah.
all-around crazy individual. So this is him in his early years. So I wonder if they mention here the corrupting influence of his tutor. I wonder if this could be like an order of ancients manipulation going on. So yeah, I'm really excited about it as well, and the birth of tyranny as well. So it's going to be
Yeah.
cool to see ancient Rome on TV in this era we've not really seen in Assassin's Creed. So yeah, this got me excited reading this.
Absolutely. I mean, Rome back then, it was the biggest city in the world. It was the center of the known world, right? So I think it has a lot of potential for, and I don't know if they're gonna lean into social stealth, the social aspect of the assassins. But yeah, that assassin without a capital A is a bit concerning because, well, we know what Ubisoft has been doing. So I wouldn't be surprised if these guys just went the other direction. I don't know, just an assassin, a general guy, something. He has some personal reason to do what he does. But yeah, we'll see. What I'm quite interested in is how they will tackle Nero, as I said, because Nero, wow. I mean, he did some crazy things. I would like to see the apostles Paul and Peter, because I mean they're my guys. I love them, and he did some unspeakable things to Christian people in Rome back then. And I don't know how much they will go into that, because obviously in this day and age, every producer and every show is quite careful about themes like that, right? They don't want to offend people, but I say tell the history the way it happened, but do your own thing. This is Assassin's Creed, so weave that into that time period, which will, I think, enrich it and put more of an emphasis on it at the same time. Yeah.
It's a great answer. I totally agree. I mean, I want to see like pieces of Eden involved. I want to see
Yeah.
manipulation behind the scenes by like corrupting forces. I want to see like references to like we mentioned before, potentially like Aya, Amunet, and Bayek as
Hmm.
well, establishing the hidden ones. And because this isn't that long after, really. I mean, we went into it last week that, of course, this is after that time origin. So the Brotherhood or the hidden ones have been established. So it'll be really cool to see like how they look in Rome now after Aya's left, or potentially even died at this point. We don't really know. So yeah, it'd be cool to see like the weight of the mark they've left upon the world, and if they're gonna maybe acknowledge that, or if they don't, or if like you say, it's just a lone assassin inspired by the events of the past. And yeah, I wonder how they're going to do it. And Nero in particular is of interest to me as well, just because of the brutality of it and how much they're going
Yeah.
to show on. I'm a big fan of like anything in Rome, really. So yeah, it's gonna be cool, and it's your special place as well. So it's going to be nice for both of us to see this on the big screen. It's gonna be cool, or the little
Yeah,
screen.
Rome. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm just excited because we haven't had anything AC related, like a show, an official production. We haven't had anything since, when did the film release? 2016, I think it was.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't want to keep repeating myself and say I'm excited. I just am, and my biggest hope is that they actually do it justice, and that the series is that the series can stand on its own, and it's actually a good show, not just an adaptation. And as we've seen with many other adaptations on Netflix, they just take a big name and then they just make a very poor adaptation of it. So I genuinely hope this will be a work of passion, that some people who actually know about Assassin's Creed are on the show. So yeah, not much more I can say about it, until we get more details, more particular ones.
That's a good point. And in particular, I just hope it doesn't have any like law errors, like the movie did, where it almost like established itself as like its own separate entity from the games, because it was like, oh, here's the Apple of Eden. It's this mythological thing we've never really heard of before or come across, when really, like we know in the games, they've had access to these memories of Desmond, and, they've actually come into contact with these things like Warren
Yeah,
Vidic had an Apple of Eden. Like it's almost like it didn't acknowledge that. So I don't want it to go in the direction of here is like a new version of events. Do you know what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah. I hope it just, well, as I said, it leans into the AC aspect, and that it feels like a story that wasn't told, like a canonical story that wasn't told by Ubisoft.
Mm-hmm.
So that it actually ties in the events of AC Origins. Since Origins is there, why not include it? Because we see Caesar, we see Pompey in AC Origins, although briefly. Amunet, she's directly responsible for Caesar's death, Cleopatra's death as well. Um, we could have a brotherhood established in Rome. That's I mean, Amunet does it. So and it's the height of the Roman Republic. So I mean, it's the empire at that point, 68. So yeah, I hope we might see some great assassins. I mean, the Magus Codex as well, from Valhalla. I think you remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we might see some references to that as well. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really want to go into a ramble because yeah, I don't have many details, so I don't quite know what to expect except what I've already told you. Yeah.
Very good. And I think it's interesting because it sounds like they're in like early stages of development. We're learning a bit more every week. The actors are currently in Rome, and we theorized last week that maybe this is for building relationships with each other so that it can show on screen. Maybe
Yeah.
the writing has already been done and they're going to be filming. Like we don't know what stage they're at currently, but hopefully we get a bit more information soon. Obviously, we've had the synopsis this week. Last week we had the actors. It does feel like every week there's a little tiny bit of information about this show, and hopefully over the next few weeks we get a bit more, because we love talking about the show with new people on our
Yeah.
podcast. It's great to get into what Assassin's Creed by Netflix could look like and how it's shaping up. So yeah, I'm definitely excited. I wonder if maybe the next stage for it will be like costume creation, weapons, and knowing Ubisoft and Netflix, most likely we're going to start seeing like behind the scenes shots and things like we did with the
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed movie. I mean, we were all over that back in 2016. We were covering every aspect of the filming in Malta. We had a chance to meet some of the people involved in the film. I got to meet the director, for example, go to early
No way.
screenings. So yeah, I was super lucky with that. I got to meet Justin Kurzel, and I was one of the voices of the community for the UK and got to give like initial feedback like 9 months before the movie released to the public. So yeah, I was like heavily involved in that, and other members of the team as well. So we would love to have that relationship with Ubisoft once again on this project. And yeah, it's really cool to be discussing it week in, week out, and what we hope it to be. And it's really cool to hear your perspective on it, SyncBreaker. And before we move on to the discussion topics, I wanted to ask, if it wasn't ancient Rome, where would you have liked the TV series by Netflix to be set?
Oh, that is very, very interesting. Possibly, well, I wouldn't wanna. I think medieval France would be the best. Medieval France or the Holy Land, like like when the Masyaf assassins were around. So possibly maybe early 12th century before Al Mualim came to Masyaf, right? So maybe tie, since that lore is there, like tie in Alamut and Masyaf. You know, the founding of Masyaf and how all that came to be. Because in the Secret Crusade novel, you have um, many citadels of the assassins are mentioned in the novel. So that is something like that Holy Land setup is something I would love to see. But otherwise, medieval France, I think, oh, it would be incredible. So yeah, medieval stuff. Yeah,
That's a
medieval
great
stuff.
answer. That's really cool, mate. And
Yeah,
I'm thinking about it. If it does well for season one, maybe they can go on have second, third, fourth season.
yeah,
Maybe a movie spin off. Like who knows where this could go? Maybe well, one thing that I'd love to see is them make the TV series and then release a game in a similar sort of setting. Because I know a lot of people wanted Ancient Rome for a game rather than TV. But yeah, it's cool to see where they can take this and some great suggestions there. And
yeah.
before we move on to the discussion topic, which is about Assassin's Creed modding community and mods, I
Uh-huh.
wanted to sort of set the scene for you a bit. We had a bit of backlash a few weeks ago, probably about 7 or 8 episodes ago, where we had a guest on board the show who was sort of saying that modders within the AC community should have to declare their use of mods in the description when they're promoting a game. So, for example, if you're releasing gameplay of Assassin's Creed Unity, you should have to declare if you're using mods. How do you feel about this? Because it's promoting a game, it's marketing, like free marketing for the company. But he was saying in particular that if you don't do it, it's sort of like false advertising. So, how do you feel about this as a member of the modding community?
I think it's a fair argument. I mean, I wouldn't say it's I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a crime to fail to, I don't know, put a link of the mods you used, or fail to mention that you've used any mods. And by the way, I just want to take the opportunity to say goodbye to James. I just read the comment. I'm sorry. So um, where was I? Yeah. So personally, I always, if I do a video with mods, I put them in the description. It isn't a big deal. Like, I will always put mods in the description. I put it in the title as well. So I think most of us, the people who do modded content, they actually put it in the description or in the title. But yeah, some people possibly, if they do not do that, many fans will see that many fans are acquainted with ACU fixes, for example, and then if they see some unnatural movement in the gameplay, everyone is going to be asking, okay, are you using ACU fixes, etc., etc. New people, sure. So that's why I can see where this guy is coming from. Um, yeah,
No, that's a great take on it. And I think it comes down to when you're playing the game yourself, but then you're seeing like a representation of it online that might go viral, for example, or do really well. And then you realize, hang on, my version of this game doesn't look like that version of this game.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's answered it really well. And it's really cool to have some insight from someone within the modding community. And whilst we're talking about the AC modding community, I wanted to know if Ubisoft is doing much to support it, because there are websites where you can download Assassin's Creed mods, for example. I'm thinking of like Skyrim Nexus mods. I
Yeah.
imagine there are Assassin's Creed mods on there. But do Ubisoft do much to support people who are creating mods or using them?
They absolutely do. So, unfortunately, I haven't stepped into contact with Ubisoft, but I hope that will change. I'm just kidding. So, the thing we have is, I mean, you know Rapotopoulos.
Yep.
So he has been on, as far as I know, he has been in talks with the guys, and providing parkour feedback and directly using the classics parkour mod by Henry PDT to provide constructive feedback. So I think absolutely. I mean, they're aware of the modding community and how passionate some people are about parkour. I'm not one of those people who are like passionate about parkour. I just like making the videos, so that's what I did. But these guys, such as Animus Drifter and Ropotopoulos, these are your guys for parkour, and I'm so happy that Ubisoft is taking that pillar of the franchise seriously, the parkour aspect. And I'm very happy to see Ropotopoulos actually being in contact with them and providing feedback on the mechanics.
It's a very good point, and as well, Ropotopoulos was featured on the Podyssey, and they did a really great episode about the ins and out of parkour. And he
Yeah.
actually had the opportunity to sit down with Ubisoft and talk about what he'd like to see from the parkour update, which came for Assassin's Creed Shadows, Assassin's Creed Mirage. I think Mirage, as well as like in particular, is very noticeable. Once you've got that switched on, you move across Baghdad much more
Yeah.
fluid, much more control. And yeah, it's props to people like that, and Leo K as well. And you mentioned Animus
Leo K, yeah.
Drifter, and these great people within the modding community who are very switched on and very technical minded. And yeah, it's cool to see that they are getting these opportunities. So it's great to hear that Ubisoft are supporting the modding community. And one thing in particular I always wanted to see was with the Assassin's Creed platform, what is it called now? Infinity Animus Hub. I always thought it would be cool to have like things in there where you could maybe download mods, and I thought that would be a really good way of doing it, or even like paid mods, and give the creators of these mods finances and work alongside them, like in like Bethesda. I mentioned Skyrim. I'm more familiar with that. I know they have a good working relationship with modders, and even like on Steam you can download mods. So yeah, it'd be cool to see a more hand-in-hand relationship with Ubisoft, I think. But yeah, it's cool to hear that they've been supporting especially the parkour modding community, so that's great to hear.
Yeah, the Skyrim thing. I mean, I used to. I have so many hours in Skyrim. So they have obviously the Creation Club, which is pretty cool, and the consoles have official mod support, which is even more cool. But yeah, the PC modding community is just incredible. You have like so many mods daily, like so many new mods daily coming onto Nexus. But the way Ubisoft are handling this AC modding community, I don't know if they're in direct contact with modders, but I know that, for example, as I said, Ropotopoulos, he's using a lot of his knowledge to divert their attention to what we actually want with parkour. So proper control, freedom of movement, proper ejecting, and just generally, it's not even if the parkour is good, if the world design is bad, then the parkour is bad as well. So, for example, Shadows, I don't like the world design. They made so many great improvements to the parkour system, like hats off, amazing. But I don't know, you just don't have the architecture isn't built for that. You can only basically do parkour in castles, but that's like, okay, why would I do that? I'm just killing these guys, a stealth takeover, and let's move on to the next. Yeah, so yeah.
No, that's a good point. You've got all this potential for parkour, but not really the space to do it in Shadows. And yeah, it's strange because they added all these things, all these different like technical abilities. You've now got, I'm thinking like the back wall jump and things, and ledge grab, but there are only so many opportunities to use them, really. I found in my gameplay anyhow, I'm in a lot of like little towns and villages, and the rooftops aren't really connected. You go high and then you have to go low, and then you go high again and low, and they're not really like connected like they have been in the past by like zip wires and things. And yeah, I found that as well. But it is cool to hear that the modding community has got this impact on Ubisoft, and hopefully they are listening now within that space, and it sounds like they are. So before we move on to one of the final sections of the podcast, I'm just going to take a toilet break, so I'll be back in 2 seconds.